Welcome back, everybody, to the Off the Tools podcast with your hosts, Jimmy Hong and Joshua Grudenborg. Today, we have the powerful, the mighty Mr. Joe Kim.
Let's go.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Today, we're super delighted to have him on. Joe, if you guys listened in episode 3 there, he had a little bit of background just about his experience in the industry and just overall maybe like sales knowledge. So if you're looking to get a little background before you kind of move on through this, go over to episode 3. We'll link it down below. But Joe, let's start rolling with the punches here. I feel like a lot of people, when they're going into sales and they have like the idea of what sales is, they start to see it, as a form of, not sugarcoat it, like manipulation, right? And I think it can be easy to go through your life and see it that way. But if you're actually looking for, what's best for the client, oftentimes it isn't that. So talk to me about maybe like your first intervention with this concept and where you took it from there.
Sales can be manipulating. Manipulation isn't necessarily a bad thing. If your friend has poor habits, or if they're, have unhealthy habits and you manipulate them to become healthy, is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't think so. But I believe that sales is something that you do for people, not to people. And when you're first getting into sales, like very rookie salespeople, they'll try and sell products and services. But I think professional salesmen purely just want to solve problems. And when you solve problems for other people, you create value and people are willing to exchange money for value. So when you solve a problem, you create massive value, which they'll trade money for. So, that's like up to the prospect. And I think if they're willing to do that, I think they're solving the problem and it's worth it. But if you're selling something that doesn't solve any problems, I think that's really unethical. And that's where it can get manipulating in a bad way. But sales is something that you do for people, not to people.
Totally. Yeah. No, and I mean, there's just so many different ways, I think, to look at sales. And in the end of the day, it's always going to be like your own individual relationship with it. It's like, and something for our listeners here today, it's like, Joe's view of sales is going to be different from my view of sales, and Jerry's view of sales is going to be different from theirs. However, there are just so many overarching concepts that you can take from each, that you can kind of bring in to your own sales game. And I think something to highlight even there as well is like, if somebody's giving you money for your product, that means they're saying that money is at least equal value, if not more valuable to them, because they are willing to give you the money, which intrinsically is supposed to be the most valuable thing.
Mm-hmm. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. I mean, if someone pays, $5,000, $10,000 for a project, but they get a completely revamped home, that's the value that they get. And maybe with a completely revamped home, they love spending more time at home. They want to host more events. They're really proud of their home. Like, that's all the value that they get. And if the exchange is greater for them, they'll make the trade.
I love it. Yeah, I think one of those things that everyone just kind of forgets about is everything is sales. I think actually, Joe, I think that was from you. One of the things that I took from you where it helped me release that thinking about it, how just everything is sales, right? Talk to us a little bit about what that kind of means to you.
Yeah, one of my favorite books, I'll grab it one sec. It's called Sell or Be Sold by Grant.
Wow.
Everything in life is a sale. And if you think that you're not good at sales, that is proof to me that you're a great salesman, because you have sold yourself on the idea that you are not a great salesman. And you might not be selling projects or closing deals or getting paid to sell, but you are selling your ideas to people. You're selling your perspective to people. You're selling your boss on getting a promotion and a raise. And when you're a professional salesman, you get paid through commission. And not every commission in life is monetary. Having good health is a form of commission. Having great relationships and friends is a form of commission. Yeah, like things going your way is a form of commission. So everything in life is a sale, because you're constantly either selling your way of thinking or you're being sold on other people's way of thinking, right? So so important. It's like the way you get what you want in life. And, you know, if you're going to spend 90 years on this planet, you might as well try and get your way more often than not. And if you can't do that, you're probably just going to live a reactive life and, you know, not be pumped when you're 85 years old.
But rolling over and letting people do whatever they want to you is just so fun, Joe. Don't you know?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
You know, not to spoil that book, Celebrity Sold. You know, a fantastic sales book. I think I read it probably around like 4 or 5 years ago now. But to lead into this, and I really hope this isn't too much of a spoiler, but Grant goes on to say during the book that the best and biggest sale that he ever made during his career was with his wife, right? You know, going into this philosophy where, you know, he's talking about how everything is sales. And he goes, I'm going to prove it to you. I literally got my wife through relentless follow-up. Now, full disclosure here, guys, you know, there's a difference between harassment and relentless follow-up, and this can go for women and sales. Okay. You know, let's make the distinction here really quickly. However, in the same regard, it's like that was a sale. And that was a bid he won. A biddy, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, shout out Elena Cardo and the biddy.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, like for any business owners listening to this episode of like, if you have a poor perspective on sales, I really encourage you to do whatever you need to figure that out, because you cannot run a business without sales. Sales will pump oxygen into your business, just like this nose strip is allowing me to pump oxygen into my. But it's like, you know, the cash will solve most problems in business, right? Like most problems are caused from lack of cash. And it's like when you run advertising, when you hire office staff, when you who pays for all that? It's from revenue. It's like, you know, salespeople get paid a commission off revenue, but the remainder gross profit gets divvied up with salary people like that. Sales is what pays for everything in your business. So if you resist that, how are you going to get more of what you resist? That'd be weird if you got more of what you resist, you know? What you don't control, you don't have power over. It's like you want power in your business. You want to, you know, feel empowered. You need to take control of sales, which will feed the rest of your business, every area.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It sounds like just one of those big things where you just have to let go and accept, for sure. What about I guess mindset? Because since you've taken so many calls in different industries, what would you say would be the biggest mindset piece before maybe going into an estimate, going into a sales call for yourself?
If we are continuously talking about sales, the professionals solving problems, you should go into every sales encounter, whether it's for home services or I'm in the high ticket remote space, whatever sale you end up doing, you should, a lot of people are attached to getting the sale. They're attached to yes, Jimmy, we'll do it. But you should release that attachment to the yes and put all attachment to accurate diagnosis, to the truth. Do they really need this project done? Is this what's in their best interest? Am I actually the right contractor for this person? And just getting to the truth, leaving nothing unsaid. And if the truth is that you are the best fit, you'll probably get the job. And if not, you probably shouldn't have the job. But when you put all attachment to the yes, that can lead to inaccurate diagnosis. And it's also very selfish. It's like, I hope they say yes. Who's that about? It's about you. It's not about the client, right? And if you also go in attached to you getting the sale and you don't diagnose or quote, properly, that's what I call malpractice, right? And malpractice is really unethical. It's like if you go into the doctor's office and without them asking questions and making sure this is what you actually need, they go, "Hey, Jimmy, take these pills." It's like, what the F? I'm not going to do that. It's just inaccurate prescription. So I would just try and go empty, release all attachment to the yes and just put pure attachment to, is this the best thing for the prospect? Am I the right fit? Is this the right quote for them? And just get to the truth.
Yeah. And a concept we actually went over in the last episode here, Joe, as we were going through the whole pros ask, amateurs tell, right? And the kind of concept you're just bringing us through here is like getting to the truth of the situation. And if it just so happens that you are the best person for the job, and that is the truth of it, I mean, you should have no problems fighting for it. I mean, it is the truth of the situation. So most of, I guess, the contractors that are, listening, or business people that are listening to this podcast are in that service-based business realm. What sort of line of questioning would you want to be kind of asking to get to the truth of, am I the right person for this job? Can I actually help this person?
You get one belief that I have is that the prospect always has the answers. So you should never be nervous about like anything because the prospect has the answer. So it's like, what do you look for in a contractor? How would you define a great experience when you're hiring a painter? What does that look like? What do you want out of this project? Why do you want it? Okay, what color do you want? Why do you want that color? How long have you been putting off this project? Why now? You haven't painted your room in 20 years. Can I ask, like, why now all of a sudden this year are you choosing to get it done?
Mm-hmm.
They have the answers. So you just ask them. And part of asking them is because, I tell all my sales reps all the time, whatever comes out of your mouth is shit. Everything that comes out of the prospect's mouth is gold. Because what's far more persuasive? Someone telling me something's a good idea or me telling me it's a good idea? Right? And you're only going to get that by asking them. So they share it out loud. And not only are they telling me, what does a good contractor look like? What is a good experience? They're telling themselves, which is the most important part. They're influencing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody knows Hermosi on this podcast, but Hermosi's gym lunch team back in the day used to give bonuses, $1,000 bonus to any sales rep who can close a deal by only asking questions, which goes to show you how valuable it is and how much of an emphasis it is just to like purely ask questions and not like make statements or like because statements are biased, it's like no one wants biased salespeople. It's like, think about how shitty a podcast would be if like you guys were just talking the whole time instead of asking questions. Like, it's like, it just doesn't work, obviously.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Yeah. And a concept that I really don't want to stray too far from, because it's so easy to overlook, especially like if you're just dipping your toes into the sales world. And it was that whole thing of like when you're asking a question to somebody, and they're giving their answer and their opinion, not yours. Like that is the truth of the matter, because it's not about your truth. It's about their truth. Right. So how do you go about maybe bringing somebody's truth to a different area, meaning like changing their mind? Because that's what that is, right? It's changing their truth. So where do you start? Obviously a big concept, but
yeah, if you want to change how someone feels, they need to feel like you're on their team first, because nobody wants to feel wrong. Nobody wants to feel like they did something wrong or that they're a bad person. So if you want to change someone's mind, the worst way you can do that is first make them feel extremely wrong. Good luck trying to change someone's mind when they feel like shit. So you want to actually lower their guard by agreeing with them and having them feel heard. So I guess like we can just kind of role play. What
I was about to say,
a way of thinking that, like, what would be an example of like someone thinking an incorrect belief that doesn't serve them?
Maybe we could do something like, it's like your company uses subcontractors. I'd rather just get somebody, have something entirely in-house.
If say that again, sorry.
It's like, your company uses subcontractors. I'd rather somebody that does everything entirely in-house.
Yeah, gotcha. So when you share that with me, it really sounds like you're looking for in-house people, probably because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because you want the people who will care the most and that'll allow you to have the highest quality end product. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That totally makes sense. I also want you to have the best end product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're totally right in thinking that. If it's like my own home, I would want the best people on the job. I live here. You're going to see it 24/7. So that totally makes sense. And their internal dialogue, like, this guy gets me. Okay, cool. I can let my guard down. Now, because like if the shoulders are like this, metaphorically, because their guard is up, good luck trying to do anything. So the first sale is like drop their shoulders. And the easiest way is you're right. You want in-house people? You're right. How do you argue with that? You're right. You're totally right. I couldn't agree more, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what's more? Do you think it's possible that an in-house person can have less skill than a subcontractor? So for you, it really seems like what's more important isn't actually in-house or subcontractors. It's whoever can get the job done better that'll allow you to have the best quality. Correct?
There you go. I feel like you understand me. You understand me. So, but what would be the next step from that? So I feel heard. What would be the next step of changing somebody's mind, or if everybody else thinks of it like pretty much objection handling, right? So what would be the next step?
In terms of objection handling, or in that role play specifically?
Well, in that role play specifically.
I think it's just like dropping their shoulders, having them feel right, and then just agreeing on what the end outcome it is that they want. Because if what you don't want is quality, then it's something else of like in-house subcontractors cost more potentially because there's markup. That's a totally different conversation. But it's like agreeing to disarm with them, drop the shoulders, and get clear on what they want. And you're only going to find that out by asking the right question. Like, what is it that you want? Is it a high quality product? Is it like having people that has been in-house and we've worked with for like 4 or 5 years that I've trained personally? Like, what is it that you want? When you say that you want in-house instead of subcontractors, can I ask what's behind that for you? Right? So it's like listening for not what they say, but what they mean. It's like, what's the meaning behind this surface level thing that you're saying? Because like when you say I want in-house people, I actually don't know what that means. That can mean 7 different things. So it's like listening for the meaning behind the surface level response. It's like another example is like if someone says like it's really expensive, it's like that's what they're saying, but what they mean could be like, I see the value. It's like this project is worth 10 grand. I just can't afford it. I don't have 10 grand. It could mean I have 100 grand in the bank, but I don't think this project's worth 10 grand. I think it's worth 7. So it's like you can't accept what they say for like the at face value. You got to look for what they mean behind that. What's behind that, right?
Wow. Yeah, I think that's such a great point. Especially, I can almost hear everybody hearing this podcast when you said like bringing up it's expensive. I can tell they're ready to like take notes because it's probably something they hear all the time, right? So if you even like when you hear that, Joe, like how do you typically handle like it's expensive?
That's totally it's totally okay. You're right. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the best salespeople are unmoved and incredibly neutral. Because like if anybody like is so reactive and gets so defensive, it just like feels like this. Like, like it's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's like your belief, your truth is that it's expensive. And like I gotta get into your world. Like, what's so wrong with things being so expensive? Like, what's actually so wrong with that? What's so what's no problems? It's like, fair enough. You're right. It is expensive. I knew that before you even told me it'd be expensive. I know I'm expensive. Like, all good. So it's just like being loose and being unmoved and not taking things personally. Of like, like you're here to solve a problem. Like when you're not going to take things personally when you're just trying to help and try and solve a problem.
Well said. It's like, do you want to be right or do you want to book the job? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think, again, for those of you that don't have the full context on Joe, he was in the painting space for what? 5 years. There you go. Managing not just his own business, but other franchises as well. When you were looking across, those people that had that 30% close rate, and then you saw those people that had those 70, 80, and those fake 100% close rates that I knew were never real. What was the biggest difference between those numbers?
Between a 30% close rate and like
an 80, let's go. Yeah, 70, 80.
Yeah.
And maybe the person, we can kind of look at the person, you know what I mean?
The person. Well, what came to mind was when people think about sales and the sales process, there's a lot more that goes into the sales process than just the estimate. That's actually the easiest part. But the people who close at 60, 70, 80, 90%, my last year I went 42 for 42 estimates. By the way.
Damn, look at me talk.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on my name. But the people with the high close rate, obviously they're better salespeople and they have a higher skill set for sales, but their estimates had the best initial conditions compared to people who don't. Meaning that, one of the things that we really did at the franchise group are pre-estimate calls where you figure out what they want painted, how long it's been, last time they painted it, what the condition is. You're identifying the need, developing the need, make sure both homeowners are there, making sure that they have a good, reasonable budget for the amount of work that they're looking to get done. And doing what's called a pre-close of gotcha, if you're happy with me, you trust me, that you feel like me and my team, we can do the best job. This project is within within your budget, and the timing of the project this summer works for you. Is there anything else standing in your way of moving forward that day? And we give a same day discount. Anything else standing in your way? No. Okay, and we're just setting up the estimate so well before we even step in the door, because if you go to a random estimate and, for example, you don't establish that all homeowners are there and they're like, Jimmy and Josh, this quote's literally perfect. It's in my budget. Timing's all good. And I'm going to go with you, but I'm not going to do it today because I haven't spoken to my wife and she's at work. You're not closing that deal. Yeah. And that's such a preventable way to have a pending job. It's not about handling objections at the table for stuff like that. It's just preventing it. Right. So it's setting yourself up for success with these estimates and creating the best initial condition for you to close that deal on the spot.
So, I'm listening to this podcast and I hear, okay, Joe's a sales wizard. He just told me to, ask if the homeowners could be there so that they can make a buying decision when they're at the estimate. Okay, I'm going to go do that. Okay. Ring, 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 ring. Hey, Stephanie, I just want to make sure your husband's there so we can make a decision when we go to the painting estimate. And it's delivery is also super important when it comes to this stuff too, right? Because just because you're checking something off of a box doesn't mean the intended action actually happened, right? And I guarantee you, if you go to Stephanie and you go, hey, Stephanie, husband's going to be there so we can make a decision, right? Stephanie is going to go a little buck wild on you.
She might say no.
Yeah.
She's more likely to say no if it lands to her that you're asking, that you're making that request for you, not for her.
Yes.
So in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, maybe it's not that book, but it's you want to speak in terms of the other person's best
interest. Yeah.
Because humans are by nature selfish, and that's totally fine. The prospect might think they might love me, but it's they don't really care that much. They care more about themselves than me. So it's can you please make sure the homeowner's there so that I can present the book? It's they're hearing this guy's selfish. Fuck this guy. I don't think so. And screw this guy. We can cut that. Yeah. You're asking if no, I'm not going to do that. But it's gotcha. One of the things that I ask for at a quote is making sure all homeowners are there because, number one, I value being in sync, and I hope you guys value being in sync as well. And I'm sure, your wife is also going to have questions. And let's say hypothetically, you want to, explain it to her. To be completely honest, the agreement and the proposal is pretty complicated, and I just don't want things to get lost in translation so that you guys both feel 100% clear, and that, she might have questions that you might not think of, and I want to make sure that you guys feel 100% clear by the end of the quote so that, there's no ambiguity for you guys.
Wow. Look at that. Incredible.
For you guys, ending it with for you guys. And you can even just give them the way, give them the out and be if you really want to do it just you, we can, but honestly, I've done this 1,000 times. It's really better for you if both people are there because everyone can get their questions answered.
Yeah, you made it so.
I want to meet everyone before we see you guys in the summer because we're gonna be working inside your home, and I know you guys that's a pretty personal thing. So it's I want to make sure that not just you, but your wife is also comfortable with me and my team. And it's not the first time meeting us when we're in your house for a week. So can I ask, would it be okay if both of you guys are there for you guys?
It's just so for them. Everything you said was everything for them, right? They'll have questions. They want to be part of it. Like nothing about like, I need them to be there. Right. Like, and I feel like this is something I learned earlier too. It's like, you can start hearing that. Someone like, sales wizard like Joe. If I told you, Joe, and you asked me like, oh, homeowners both there. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, my wife could be there. And if you probably wouldn't move on. Like, what would you do from there?
Well, when you're making bold requests to people, or like making any request, one thing that I realized through coaching franchisees and just like managing people and humans in general is that people hate rules, despises rules, but people get reasons. I'm pretty coachable and I hate rules, but I like reasons make sense to me. So it's like the reason that I'm asking you guys to both be there is so that when, like just get lost in translation when you try and explain her and present her the quote. It's just like, you're going to miss things and she's not going to see the full value in it. And she's not going to think it's worth it. You might think it's worth it. And now there's just like, a breakdown. So just to like completely prevent that and make sure that you guys both feel 100% clear on what you guys are getting for this project, I'm requesting that you guys are both there so that it saves you guys the most amount of time and, no one's missing any information. That's the reason. And the compliance rate is way higher when you explain through reasons, not just like, here's my rule for quotes. Everyone has to like, fuck you. Like,
No, for sure. So, okay, got it. We got, our homeowners there now and stuff like that, which is good. And we get them into what we kind of describe as, the buying pocket. They're actually able to make some sort of purchase because they actually are in the prime conditions in order to make some sort of executive decision on whether or not we want to do this or not. Incredible. What other things would we be looking for to get them into that buying pocket? I know we've touched on a couple.
Yeah, the biggest driver for the buying pocket is pain, because pain is the biggest driver for change. Biggest emotional driver for change for human beings. Now, for construction specifically, pain can be like the reason why they need to, for example, get stuff painted. So you want to identify the pain / problem, and then you want to stretch the pain. So it's like, for example, like if someone's looking to get their soffits painted, it's like, you gotta like identifying the need and developing the need is how you get the prospect into a buying pocket. Identifying is like, you literally identify the problem. The problem is that your soffits are peeling really bad. And you want to develop the need. And this was like, I didn't get this in my first year. I'm like, what is it like? What, like, develop the need? What the heck does that mean? But it's essentially, if you chunk it down, it's you identify the need, you find the problem, and then developing the need is finding the problem of the problem, or what's the consequence of the problem. So it's like, my soffits are peeling. That's a problem. But what's the consequence of my soffits peeling? The wood rots. What's the consequence of the wood rotting? My house starts to break down. What's the consequence of the house breaking down? I now have to hire a carpenter instead of a painter, and a carpenter costs 10 times more. Now they're like, oh, I see the urgency, right? So it's like, there's the problem of the problem, the problem of the problem of the problem. And you just go deep as you can. And that'll just stretch the pain, and more pain equals more need for change, or to like the need to get it done.
And this isn't necessarily just, getting people to change as well. This is also developing you as an expert within their eyes. It's like, yes, they're going to be more motivated to make that change. But on top of that, it's like, if you're already seeing the 4D chess of the consequences of their actions and they feel like they've been blind, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think I'd need a carpenter if the soffit's totally rotted. It's like, now you're not just that person that's like helped them see their problem, but you're like just such the solution, rather than the other guy that comes in and says, so you just want all the way around, right? Yeah. Okay. What, black? Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. It's like, okay, well, we are on different playing fields now, and we're giving like a sort of value that it's like, you're not getting when the guy is just asking, just all the way around, right? Black, semi-gloss or satin. It's like, exactly. Right. it's a different level altogether. And we're talking about consequences of action. And this guy's trying to figure out what sheen you want on it. It's not about that, buddy.
Yeah, and it also demonstrates that you're an expert. Like you get it. Like you are more knowledgeable in it. And even just pairing what we just talked about with reasons instead of rules, instead of me being like, you have to get the soffits done, like a rule, versus here are all the reasons why you should. And you talk about the consequences of not doing it, the first, second, third order consequences of like, eventually you're going to have to hire a carpenter and it's going to cost you 10 times more. That's a reason, not a rule of like, you need to get your soffits done. You should. It's like, why? Like, why? Like, educate me. Why should I get it done?
Mm-hmm.
You give them like logical reasons and you make a logical case for why they should do it. And they go, okay, I see the reasons.
We've talked about this a little bit before, how painting, remodeling, whatever, it's an interesting industry. And when you really conceptualize it, you're actually in the structural integrity industry, which is interesting to like wrap your head around. But these things, guys, like decks, fences, wooden doors, wooden porches, these are the easiest sells of your life because you can identify these first, second, third order consequences that are so screamingly obvious, right? And depending on how you get the prospect and go about a couple different ways, but I would go into estimates decks, be like, hey, do you got a water seal on this? No? Oh, you want to replace it in 5 years, eh? Boom! First order consequence right there. But it's like, again, now I'm that trusted advisor because I see the vision and maybe they did. Oh, I didn't never. And most of the time, oh, I never even thought about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that in sales is called the cost of inaction, meaning the cost of not taking action is greater than the cost of taking action. So it's like, if you can show somebody, it'll just cost you more if you don't stain your deck. And they like genuinely see and believe that the cost of doing nothing is greater than the cost of staining it, they'll do it. The reason you go to the gym is because the cost of not going to the gym long term is not worth the friction of going to the gym. You're like, I know if I don't go to the gym, I can like get overweight and get a disease. And like that cost is way greater than like getting out of bed and going to the gym. That's why we do it. Right? When people like study really hard to get into university, they do that because the cost of not getting into university is greater than the cost of studying right now. It's just human psychology. Like you do things with like that will cause the least amount of pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it always comes back to me like literally just, again, it's just for them, right? They probably never even thought about having to replace it. They probably don't even know it's going to cost 10 times more.
Yeah.
Right? Until the first time.
So like a launch point and people doing Facebook ads, people do that because the cost of not having Facebook ads is that you will probably have a business that doesn't make you money. Cost of doing nothing is far greater than the cost of probably working with you guys. It's like, I don't know how much you guys charge, but like, call it $2,000. It's like, if you miss 2 weeks of work per month and you make like $2,000 a day, if you had a full day's worth of work, 2 weeks, Monday to Friday, that's 10 working days times $2,000 a day is 20 grand. It's like you can pay 2 grand and have a full schedule and go collect that 20,000, or you can do nothing and continue to lose 2,000 to 20,000. Which cost is greater? What's more painful for you?
Totally. No, for sure. Yeah, you're so right, Joe. We should raise our prices. But yeah, no, and that's so important, to even recognize. I went to a quote one time and I just asked them, when I was there, because they didn't give me the right answer when I was doing my pre-estimate call, but the answer they gave me when I got there, hey, why are you looking to get this done again? It's like, oh, because my family keeps on making fun of me. And it was an awful green color. Do not get me wrong. It was make fun of worthy, but it's like, you best believe, that whole time. All right. So when we're here getting rid of this, beautiful green color, we're going to make sure to sand it down real good, and again, I'm constantly, reminding them, and it's for them. They're the ones that want this green color gone on their wall, but I'm also building the vision, right? It's it comes back to that, obviously sales conceptualization of heaven and hell island, right? I'm bringing them closer to the beautiful, nice ice blue dining room that they're looking for and get away from the Grinch that stole Christmas, Christmas dinner, living dining room, whatever, right? So as long as you can kind of widen the gap between, what both of these visions look like, and then separate yourself and build that bridge that is you in between those two visions, it's like they're gonna go with you every single time. And part of what sales is also making sure that bridge between where they are right now and where they're going just is clear. There's no fog on that bridge. You don't want to walk on a bridge that is, if you take one step, you might fall over the edge, right? Like that's a poor bridge, and I don't want to walk on that bridge. It needs to be clear.
Yeah, and again, like price is what you pay, value is what you get. If the value exceeds the price, it's like, wow, that's a great deal. If the value is beneath the cost or the price, they're like, wow, like this is expensive for what it is. It's really expensive. When people say it's expensive, it's not that. It's like, if this was $100, these nose strips, like that's pretty expensive. I have more than I can afford it, but it's still pretty expensive, right? It's because like the value doesn't exceed the cost. So it's like when someone had like a personal problem, like, oh, like my family's roasting me because some of these like walls are so ugly. It's like, if you can stretch that pain to like, gotcha, like what are they actually saying to you? Wow. And like when they make fun of you, like I know it's funny, but like, does that bother you? Yeah, it really does. And then you go, it's $2,000 to paint this room. It's like, I'm getting a painted room and I'm no longer getting made fun of by my family. So it's like the value exceeds the cost. And like, that's a great deal.
Totally.
Some people are willing to pay that too, right? Like it's not up to you to be like, if it's a good deal for them or not. It's for them to really think about it, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Hermosio saying, it's like one of his quotes was, what's it costing me not making $1 million a year? Right? Like all the different things. Think of like a painting business, right? It's like I'm losing crews. I have to spend more money doing that and stuff. Like it just doesn't make sense.
The cost of inaction. If you make 50 grand a year, what's the cost of doing nothing? If you want to make $1 million, the cost is the difference, right? 950,000. So,
and just to kind of wrap this, in a bow for us here, Joe, if you really had to summarize maybe like, 3 points or so, what do you think contractors, painting, irrigation, pest removal, whatever, service-based businesses, what do you think people should be at a very minimum be implementing in their sales structures in order to close more and actually show up to estimates that are going to do something about it?
One of my closers closed a $7,000 deal. Why are you saying that?
Oh my God. Look at that.
What are the best practices for sales, essentially, for contractors?
Yeah.
If you don't have nothing in life is random. These sales outcomes are not random. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Just set yourself up better for these estimates. Like you can just kind of like, you can go on ChatGPT. I am a painter. I want to create a pre-estimate phone call to filter my clients. It'll probably give you some decent questions, but just like have a phone call with the homeowner before going to do the estimate, making sure that minimum both homeowners are there. If you need an hour for your estimate, making sure that they're good from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., making sure they have a good budget, good price expectation, and that they're like somewhat ready to make a decision, whether it's a yes or no, if it checks all their boxes. Just like set yourself up for estimates. Number 2, never, ever, ever fucking be late for an estimate. That you're starting off on such a poor footing. It's like if you're going to be late for an estimate, they're probably thinking you're going to be late for the project. That's 100% in your control. Show up on time. And your intention should be, I'm here to take care of this client better than anybody else. And if that's your intention, the right questions will just come out of your mouth. You'll say the right things, and people will want to work with people who care about them. Like sales really is a game of who cares the most. And if you genuinely care about like that homeowner more than any other contractor in your city, you'll probably get the job.
There you go. I would say it's straight from the horse's mouth, but it's straight from the goat's mouth in this case here, guys. I think that's all the time we have for today. As always, we really appreciate every single one of you guys listening. Big thank you to Mr. Joe Kim for coming on today. If you guys want to see what it might look like to work with us here at Launchpoint Media, there should be some links down below. As always, have an incredible day, and we'll see you guys in the next.
Peace.
Cheers.